Hey everybody, another GMG review. Today we're taking a look at part 3 of Dead Silence. This is the new expansion for Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team that contains 2 elite teams, and in part 3 we're checking out the Space Wolf Scouts Kill Team. Again, this is a Space Marine Kill Team. It's pretty elite. It's along the lines of like a Phobos Kill Team, but instead of having a 6th Marine member, you actually have a Fenrisian Wolf. And as I talked about in the review of the main box set, this one struggles a little bit to get all of your specialists. There are 7 models total. You've got the Fenrisian Wolf you get all the time, and then a Pack Leader, Fang Bearer, Frost Eye, Gunner, Trapmaster, Scald, a Rune Priest, and a Hunter. The Hunter's kind of the core like scout stat line. The rest are specialists, including the leader model, which you do not have to take. You just have to take the Wolf, which is kind of interesting. But because a lot of them use the same body type, so for instance, the Frost Eye and the Leader use the same body, you have to do a bit of kit bashing to make both. But I managed to build out of my kill team with a little bit of like finessing the Frost Eye on the Hunter body, and then the Pack Leader, the Fang Bearer, the Wolf, obviously a Gunner, and a Scald. So I can kind of try out all the options when I did my initial team build. So because there's no leader, you do have a leader model, the Pack Leader himself, but he's not required to be taken. You can take a kind of a wide mix of what's here. And your Faction Spectre rule is built around a Storm Marker. Now, you will generate a Storm Marker by activating your Scalds. You actually don't get one if you don't take them. So you're kind of required to take the Scald because he generates them through his psychic actions, and then you're able to, as a gambit, move it around over the course of the turn once it's generated. I don't know, and then also you can use it to augment the abilities of scouts that have it nearby. So like you could have it on a scout at the beginning of the turn, they could do things, the Scald activates, removes it and puts it somewhere else, and then next turn it moves again based upon your actions happening at the start of the turn in your gambit. So but the only way to get one is to take the Scald, so you're sort of required to. And the scouts can charge when they have conceal orders if they start inside of a storm. So you're able to basically, with your gambit, set up a concealed charge if you want as well too, and keep that guy concealed after he's fought in melee. Now your second faction rule is hunting Astartes. You can make 2 fight or shoot actions, but it's an extra AP for your plasma guns to fire, and you can't do 2 psychic actions in the same turn. And then every friendly Wolf Scout operative can counteract regardless of their order, but when they do so, if you're in a storm, you can change your order first, or change your order instead of performing an action. So for the latter, it's still treated as having counteracted. So you can like go into conceal if you want as a counteraction sort of and do things. So yeah, because they're Astartes. And those are your core faction rules. Now, actual profiles, again, kind of akin to Phobos Marines. But let's start with the Fenrisian Wolf. He's your all-the-time model. 2 AP, 8-inch move, 5+ save, 9 wounds. He's got a pretty decent melee attack, 5 attacks, 3+, 4/5 rending. And rending, of course, will augment a hit to a crit if you get a critical. Instinctive Predator, he can only do charge, dash, fallback, fight, and reposition actions. Can't use any other weapons, so no throwing grenades. And then he's got a pounce ability once per battle. As a strategic gambit, if this operative's APL stat is 2 or more, this operative can perform a free charge, fallback, or reposition action. If it does, until the end of its next activation, it's -1 APL and it can't perform any of the aforementioned actions. So basically, you can push this model in a charge as a gambit to lock something down, which is really neat. Think of him like a little cruise missile, basically, that can like run out and do stuff. But because he can't do like mission actions, he's just there to fight. He's kind of semi-expendable. Then we'll go Pack Leader down. So the Pack Leader, he's got a plasma pistol and a power weapon. So standard plasma and power weapon, like no extra kind of like bonuses there. He has Lupine Guile. Once per battle, you can reroll the initiative roll if he's in the kill zone. And then Grizzled Veteran, the first time he dies, he doesn't die. He comes back with 1 wound remaining and can't be incapacitated for the remaining of the action. All remaining attack dice are discarded. He just doesn't die once per game. Very cool ability. He's got a bonus wound. Everyone else has 13 to his 14. 3+ save, 7-inch move, and 3 APL. So very quick, speedy team. Then we've got our Fang Bearer. He's your medic. And he's got his Absolver Bolt Pistol. So piercing 1 crits, range 9 inches instead of 8 inches, 4/5 damage, hitting on 3s of 4 attacks. and a combat blade, so 4/5 damage, 5 attacks on 3s as well. He's got Spiritual Chirurgy. You can ignore any changes to the stats of friendly Wolf Scouts, excluding their wolves, from being injured. Friendly Wolf Scouts operatives are not affected by enemy operatives' shock and stun weapon rules, and you can ignore any changes to their APL stat. Now, the friendly operatives have these rules if you select this operative for the battle, even if it's incapacitated later. Basically, he makes them immune to shock and stun, and never has their stats changed from being wounded, just by including him in the team. If he dies, they keep all those rules. You would take him every game. It's why I made sure I built one. He's so good. You're never injured, and you can't be shocked and stunned, and you ignore any changes to your APL stat. Fucking crazy. And then he's got Healing Bombs. He can heal D3+3 lost wounds as an action. Amazing. Like, just possibly the best medic in the game. He just makes everybody immune. Like, he gives them all transhuman physiology forever, all the time, just by being included. Because he, like, I don't know, like, drew a rune on them or something. Yeah, incredible. Your Frost Eye, he's got an Instigator Bolt Carbine. It has heavy and mobile abilities. I built this guy too. He's got the heavy mode 2s to hit 3/4 damage. It's dash only, but piercing crits 1 and silent. And then piercing crits 1 silent on the basic one as well, but doesn't hit on 2s anymore. So yeah, sit still and gain a +1 to hit. Also has a combat blade, and then he's got Storm Veiled Execution. Whenever this operative is within your storm, it can perform the guard action regardless of what kind of kill zone it's in. And it can perform the guard action while it has a conceal order, but if it does, it cannot perform more than one shoot action for the rest of the turn. So it can't shoot both during its interruption and during counteract. So basically, this guy's concealed. He can move, shoot, guard, and then shoot later on, all while like in a storm or concealed and be like impossible to damage. This guy's awesome. Then we have the gunner. I built a gunner because it's awesome to have a plasma gun, so why not? He only gets a plasma gun. And he's got Tempest Fury. If he's in the storm, all profiles have punishing, and if it's supercharged, doesn't have the hot roll because the storm cools it off. So that's very cool, which means you would always supercharge it because why not if it's not hot, and be lethal 5+ and have punishing. Then the Trap Master. This guy gives you your EMP. He's got a plasma pistol as well, and a combat blade. He's got a Haywire Mine. It's basically the standard one. It can perform the pickup marker action on this marker, but that marker cannot be placed with another model's control range. And then it's a proximity mine. When it goes off, remove the marker. When it comes into control range, subtract 1 from the enemy operator's APL, and until the end of its activation, inflict 2d3+3 damage on it, or d3+6 if it's within 6 of a storm marker. So it gets more dangerous near the storm marker. So a neat little bomb. He does not get the cooling off ability though of the storm, which I thought was funny. And then your Scald. Now this guy's super important. He's got 2 psychic abilities and a bolt pistol, and then a runic stave for melee, which has psychic and shock, so 3 psychic attacks here. Bolt pistol, just an 8-inch range bolt pistol, pretty standard. He does not get an extra wound either. Jaws of the World Wolf is Blast 2 Severe, and it's 3/5 damage with 5 attacks on 3s. Thunderclap, 5 attacks on 2s, 2/2 damage, but it's range 6, Saturate, Seek Light, Stun, and Torrent 2. So it's like a ball of lightning. And then the Rune Stave is 5 attacks on 3s, 4/6 shock. You can cast the runes before the game. You roll 3d6, and what you do is any 1 to 4s become free CP rerolls. So that's 2 CP rerolls, and the 5 becomes a command point that you gain from the start of the game. So he either makes you 3 command points or 3 CP rerolls. Decide on which one you want because you cast the runes. Again, you would use this guy every time. Which is why I'm like, I think you would always use the Leader, the Fangbearer, and the Scald minimum, and you get the Wolf, and the Rexter kind of flexes, but the Frost Eye is also amazing. He's got the psychic ability, which is called the Storm. So he's the one for 1 AP. We'll place the Storm marker in the battlefield. If it's already in the battlefield, if you don't want to move it, you can choose a Scout operative, and until the next activation, or until it's incapacitated, whenever it's within your storm and more than 3 from the enemy, it's obscured. So basically, you can make the storm, like, if you don't want to move it, like zhuzh itself up to become more powerful and obscure people. And then finally, the Hunter. He's just the standard dude with the plasma pistol, and he's got a fierce temperament. Your weapons get severe if you're in the storm marker. So A decent Space Marine force regardless. They have really short range guns except for the Instigator Bolt Carbine and the Plasma Gun. I guess Jaws the World Wolf also is unlimited range, so it kind of gives you another gun outside of that. Decent melee ability because they all have combat blades. And then your strategic deploys are mostly around the Storm, although you do also get a Savage Fighter's ability as well. So Cloaked by the Storm, if you're in the Storm, you can reroll your defense dice. Tempestuous Wrath, if you're inside the Storm, you get Balanced. Storm's Bite, whenever an enemy operative is in the Storm, subtract 1 from the attack stat of its melee weapons. And Savage Fighters, whenever a friendly Wolf Scout operative finishes fighting or retaliating, if it wasn't killed, it does D3 plus 1 damage on the enemy in that sequence. So basically, you bite somebody as a bite attack. And finally, you're like, I choose to do these firefight plays. Transhuman Physiology, you can retain one of your normal successes as a crit instead. Touched by Loikar, if you're outside of 5 inches of any other friendly models, you roll all your attack dice in an attack unless you're the wolf. Counterattack uses Firefight Play at the end of an enemy operative's activation or after an enemy operative has a fight action. You can perform a free fight action, but you cannot select any other enemy operatives to fight against during that action. So basically, you can punch back if someone punches you. And then Acute Senses uses Firefight Play when you perform a shoot action and you're selecting a valid target. Until the end of that action, that friendly operative's range weapons have range 6 and Seek Light, and the enemy can't be obscured. So basically, you can smell them. I think it's very funny. You Wolverine that guy. And then finally, your faction equipment is going to be Frost Weapons. Friendly Wolf Scout operatives, combat blades all get lethal 5+, and the pack leader gets lethal 4+. First power weapon. Yes, please. All the time, always. Runic Charms, once per turning point. When an operative is shooting a friendly Wolf Scout operative, at the start of the roll defense dice step, you can use this rule. If you do worse than the X of piercing by 1 until the end of the sequence, then it just ignores piercing 1. So you can just ignore piercing 1 once per turn. Again, yes, please. Wolf Teeth Necklaces. Once per turning point, when a friendly Wolf Scout operative, excluding Fenrisian Wolves, is shooting, fighting, or retaliating, if you roll 2 or more fails, you can discard 1 to retain a success instead. And then Talismanic Trophies. Whenever a friendly Wolf Scout operative is fighting or retaliating in the Resolve Attack side deck, you can subtract 1 from the damage inflicted from one of the successes because you're just like that tough. So a bunch of equipment that stacks up either additional damage or reducing damage coming in. You've got great healing, and then this like mobile obscurement marker to keep your short range kind of like under control. Although between your Instigator Bolt Carbine, which is silent, that you can shoot while in concealment, and the fact that you have a pretty rad plasma gun that doesn't get hot, you do have some ranged ability to reach out and touch people too. Although they're like giving everyone lethal 5+ and lethal 4 on that power sword is pretty dangerous. And you just ignore all your injuries from that Fang Bear. Man, it's a neat team. Your wolf being relatively disposable and being the lightest of the models, of course, is kind of like your weak link. But I think that's the flex with the power curve that everyone else has. I do think dropping the trap map, if you're going to build these for the first time, I think what I built out of it is probably the best team you can milk out of it. That might be debatable, but like, I think you would always use the Fang Bear, always use the Pack Leader, always use the Frost Eye, always use the Scald to get your markers, always use the Gunner to get a gun because you want something to reach out and touch people. So yeah, I think those are the 5 to start with. And then the Hunter and the Trap Master are kind of situationally good. And you're getting this guy no matter what. So I do think that's the mix. You will have to kind of like kit bash your Frost Eye out of the Hunter, but it's not a hard build. These are very much traditional like old style Marine builds. The shoulders are flat and you can put kind of any head on any body. So I did not have a hard time doing that, which I really liked about these model kits. Faction equipment is kind of a no-brainer. And yeah, I think these 2 elite teams, you've got a really good shooting team and a really good close-up team between the 2 of them in Dead Silence. They're pretty well balanced against each other. So if you picked up this box and it was your first time playing Kill Team, I think you'd probably have a good time doing it. Again, the weakest part of this box is the campaign, which you can check out the first video if you want to hear me talk about. But the teams themselves are fun. I'm still bummed you didn't get any train, but I guess we'll see what comes along with the next box. So there it is, the Space Wolf Scouts. I'm mostly done painting them. You can see they're just sitting here in my Kill Team box set. I finished my pack leader, but everybody else is kind of work in progress done. I'll get them done this week so I can start recording the adventures of these guys in Typhon. They jumped the queue. The other half of my Deathwatch Kill Team is, I think, getting turned into these guys going on an adventure instead because they're so fun and cool. I really wanted to paint them. And that's it. So big thanks for watching. For workshops and so long for me to review. That's how I'm Ash.